Hi, welcome to my channel, Christy's Crafts. I'm so excited to get to know each and every one of you. I've created a few Christmas decor ideas for the year 2021. I will tell you that it's taken a long time to get to this point. My husband has been supportive. I have a little boy. I'm a stay-at-home mom. This is a dream come true. So I hope that you like what you see. Please click and subscribe to my channel, and also click the like button if you like what you see. Thank you so much. Let's get started. Okay, for this first DIY, we are going to be making a snowman family decor. So the first thing we want to do is we want to have several pieces of wood from the Dollar Tree, along with some of their little snowmen that come in a pack of 8. On top of that, we have a few more of the wooden snowmen that I pulled apart and I was able to use for some of the hat and for some of the other various parts. The main pieces of wood for the snowmen we want to paint all white. I made sure and did 2 coats of white paint, and then we use black paint for the hat, and the black paint that I had there was from the Target Dollar Spot. So once we finish painting that black, we'll be moving to the stand. In the stand I just used the wax paint, and you'll see that in a second. The stand was just a part of the Santas that had the 2 Santas on each side. I think it was the bottom of that. I just pulled it apart and used the wax to make it the brown color. You really could do the stand any color you want, but I decided to go with more of a natural, kind of a rustic look. Sorry for going off camera. But now that that's painted, we want to move to the snowflake. And the snowflake we want to paint, I painted a silver color. You could use a gray color. But once you do that, make sure that you do 2 coats. And then once that's complete, there's also a little circle that you paint silver to go on the top of that, because we're going to be putting Let It Snow in the center. So once you have all of your snowmen painted, then you want to just rough those up a little bit, make them look a little bit more rustic. And I was able to just use the wax and a paper towel, and I just kind of smudged that. And the nice part about this is if you mess up, which I did, I put a little too much wax, you just put a little bit of white paint right back over that, and then use your paper towel to kind of wipe the excess off and smear that all in, and you get the look that you want. Next, I used Cricut to find a snowman face, and I used that face for each of the snowmen so they all looked identical because they're a family. So I just put all of that on. You could also use markers. You could use a paint marker. You could use a paintbrush with paint. You know, if you're a good painter, I'm definitely not, so I used my Cricut for that. And I also made their little buttons with my Cricut, and then I glued all the faces on. And then once you have all the faces glued on, you want to start assembling the hats. And of course, that snowman, we definitely put the black hat on, and then the other 2 we're going to put some little snow hats on, using one of the gnomes from Dollar Tree, and then also a scarf I had there. So just made the scarf using my glue gun and a little piece of wire so that I could pull that over to the side where I needed it. And then you glue those on. I made sure they were all coordinating. And for the striped scarves, I used the legs of the gnome and cut those off, and then I was able to use those as their scarves. And then, of course, finish it off with a little pom ball or puff ball. And then you want to glue these to the stand. And I just used hot glue. They're a real lightweight wood. And you just want to glue those to the stand. Glue all the pieces together. You'll see. I'm going to put what appears to be the child snowman in the front. And then I made sure and glued him to the mom and dad snowmen to make sure that they were all secure and sturdy. And there you go. Stands right up. And then we're going to now put the snowflake on. I just use the hot glue. And then I put the little piece on. I also use my Cricut to print out Let It Snow. And that's the finished product. Turned out super cute. I absolutely love it. And I ended up embellishing the snowman hat as well. All right, the next one. All right, so we are going to be making Grinch mugs. And I was able to download a free SVG image of the Grinch's face from Google. I just looked it up on Google. And we're going to be adding that to the front of this Dollar Tree green mug that I found. Super cute. My best friend of 38 years absolutely loves the Grinch, and so these are for her for Christmas. Now she knows her Christmas gift, but that's okay. These turned out super cute. The mugs themselves had a little bit, they were kind of beveled, and so it took a little bit to get those to stick. But I just used the temporary vinyl so it can be removed if you wanted to put something else on these mugs. I would recommend not using these mugs to drink out of. You could, but because I didn't put any type of sealer on the mugs, I think it would be best just to use these mugs as a display. So I even did the yellow of the Grinch's eyes and made sure to put that on there as well. And these turned out so cute. I mean, if you bought this at a Hallmark or another store, they would be extremely expensive. So I just thought that this was a heck of a deal for $1. So cute. So cute. And on the back, I used a heart for, the heart being 3 sizes too small, or, I put the heart on the back, and then I put Merry Grinchmas also that I pulled off of Google, printed those out on my Cricut, and then put those on. I found that when you put the words on top of the red heart, that it was a little hard to see, a little hard to read with the black words. So I would recommend in the future maybe doing that white. It might show up a little bit better. But because of that, on the other mug, I ended up just putting the words only and did not use the heart, so that way, when displayed, you could display them either way. So if you wanted to show the heart with the words, or without the heart and just the words only. So you'll see that here. There you go. So cute. Absolutely adorable. And I sent pictures to her, and she absolutely loved them. All right, for the next DIY, we are going to be making kind of a wintry scene with houses and trees with snow and that type of thing. I saw this at the Cracker Barrel, and I wanted to recreate it. It was about $30 at the Cracker Barrel, and all of these items being used mostly were from the Dollar Tree. I also printed out the word Merry from my Cricut. If you don't have a Cricut, you can always buy the letters at Hobby Lobby. Sometimes Dollar Tree has the letters that you can purchase. And I would just recommend getting a Cricut if you don't have one, if you have the ability to get one. It is probably one of the best things that I've ever purchased. So I highly recommend it. As you can see, I just used a heat gun to remove the stickers. And I will tell you that that is a must. I would highly recommend getting that. I can put that down below, the link to the Amazon purchase that I made for that heat gun. But this is the base, and the base came from actually Dollar General. Had some spring signs that were like $1.50, and I went ahead and just painted this base white because this is kind of, like I said, like a wintry wonderland. Homes with, or houses with, little Christmas trees, and then the word Merry on the boxes. And then of course all the boxes are from Dollar Tree, and you want to paint everything white. You'll see that here. I think I did 2 coats on everything, especially the bottom piece. Make sure you do 2 coats of white. You could also distress this and make it look a little more rustic. I decided not to do that because of the more, the snowy white look that I was going for. I just kind of stayed away from the rustic on this one. The little houses are little bird houses from the Dollar Tree, and I just painted the roofs white, and then I'm going to use the wax to do the actual house itself. Make sure that you use a small brush to get into all the spots where, the crevices and things that you can't get with a foam brush. But you want to wipe the excess off with a paper towel, and then anything that gets on the roof, you can just use your white paint to kind of touch that up. So these turned out so cute. Just kind of rustic. I guess that was a little bit of a rustic vibe, making them more of that brown color with the snowy white roofs and the snow, everything else being kind of snowy white. So cute. So once we're done with this and we touch everything up, then we are going to start assembling. So before we do that, always make sure that you put your letters on first. So we're going to put each of those letters on the blocks, on the front of the blocks. And of course, like I said, I used my Cricut. You just want to use your little squeegee and adhere those to the boxes. It looks so cute. So I did each of those, and then it says Merry. And then I set the boxes on the stand the way that I want to display them, and as you can see, they're kind of separate, not all lined up. And then the houses themselves, I wanted to add some doors and windows. Again, I am not an artist, so I just kind of did this freehand. I did not, I just painted everything white to kind of go with my snowy vibe. And I, painted even like a couple little doorknobs on there, and, it's just real freehand and kind of rough, but it turned out really cute. So next we want to actually glue on all of the boxes to the actual stand itself. And one thing that I forgot to do was glue these to each other. So you definitely can glue them to the stand. We set that up to make sure that everything fit properly. But you also want to make sure that you glue them to each other. Because once I finished, I noticed some small gaps in between each of the boxes, and I think it would have looked a little bit nicer if they had been glued together. So don't forget that step. So we're going to continue to glue all these on, and I was just making sure that everything was going to fit properly and it was going to be exactly where I needed it. It turned out the stand was exactly the right size for these boxes for the word Merry. So once you finish assembling them, then we're going to add the houses and the trees. So all in all, I think this particular project cost me about $14, I think, with the trees and, the paint and the vinyl and all of that all together. But compared to $30, I think that's a great deal. So you want to offset these. So you're going to have a little Christmas tree, then you're going to have a house, a Christmas tree, and a house. So you want to glue these on. I liked how the 2 houses had different roofs, just to make, give it a little bit of variation. The Christmas trees ended up being a little bit too tall, so I cut the stems off and then resecured the plastic bottoms to the trees, and then glued those down to the boxes. So cute. Very wintry, very Christmassy. And we're going to add some snow, and we're going to add a little bit of snow with paint, and then we're going to add some sparkly snow to the top of the houses and around the trees and things. So it ends up being very, very cute. I mean, you could add bows, there's a number of things you could do here. The nice thing about crafts, this kind of gives you a starting off point, it gives you an idea, but you can, do this the way that you would do it. You can paint these to match your decor. You could add a bow, you could add, a reindeer. I mean, you could add a number of things. One of the things the houses were missing were chimneys, and so you could probably, find, something that you could use to add that as well. I ended up not doing that. I also used some little snowflakes. Sorry, I'm a little delayed. The snowflakes are also from Dollar Tree, and I added those to the top of the house with the flat roof. And then I used some white paint to paint around the sides of the house like snow, and just to make sure that that was, matched my snowy winter wonderland for this particular project. So once you finish that, then we're going to move to the fun part, the messy part, the glittery snow. So this particular spray glue is from Dollar Tree, and it sprays purple and dries clear. And the shimmering snow I just purchased at the Dollar Tree. So you just want to spray that on. It's so nice because it's kind of thin, and then you just sprinkle that snow right on and add a little glue if you need to add extra. You can make this as snowy as you want. I just did kind of a light dusting all around. So you'll see as I continue to add snow, you can shake the excess off and kind of see if you missed any places. And then you just want to sprinkle that snow on. Some of the snow got on some of the letters, and you just want to make sure and brush that off and make sure that it stays really clean. So I just use my finger and clean those up, and made sure that I had the look that I was going for. But I just think it's absolutely adorable. And I cleaned all of that snow up. And that's the finished product. You could also add lights. You saw those lights. You could add lights, and those were from the Dollar Tree as well. I ended up not doing that. All right, so for the next one, all right, we are going to use several products again from the Dollar Tree. I think the string was from, or the twine was from Walmart. Of course, we're going to use a little bit of this wax for the little wooden tray, and that wooden tray stands up perfectly with the sides, and you'll see when we're finished with this. But we're just going to go ahead and give this a full coat of the wax, and once we're done painting the entire thing, including the back, because it'll be standing, you want to use a paper towel and go ahead and remove the excess wax, just to make sure that you get the color that you are most comfortable with. So once I removed all of that, then I went to the bottom of the tray and painted that as well. I mean, wherever you put this, I mean, if it's not against a wall, you don't want somebody to see the back of that. And then the trees, of course, are from the Dollar Tree. I think they were in a pack of 6. And I didn't want the star on this particular project, so I just cut that off, and you'll see it just into a perfect point there. So once you get the desired look, then I mixed a few greens, one from Dollar Tree. I had a sage green chalk paint, and then a little bit of that wax I also added to it just to get the right color green. And I absolutely love this color. It's kind of a Kelly green, I guess you would say, maybe a little darker, and it was perfect for what I was going for here. I gave it 2 coats of paint, and of course you only have to paint one side. And then I also used the wax, and sorry for getting off camera there. I also used the wax to make this a little bit more rustic. I put it all around the edges and a little bit on the front once it was dry, and then used a paper towel, and you'll see that in a minute. So that's kind of the final. Used a paper towel to kind of wipe off the excess. I used my heat gun to make sure it was dry, because we are going to use our Cricut again and place some words on the front of the tree. And I chose "Oh Christmas Tree," and I did it in white, so you'll see that in a minute. So before we do that, I was kind of debating going back and forth, but I decided to put a little bit of twine on the bottom of the tree for the tree trunk. I thought that would be really cute and kind of rustic. So I used my hot glue, and then I just wrapped that around. You know, kind of use hot glue as you go, but once you get it where you want it, then we're going to put on the words before we actually glue it to the tray. And I learned something. "Oh Christmas Tree," the O is all by itself. I always thought that it was OH, but it's actually just the O. So it turned out really cute. And I'm not exactly sure what letters I used for this particular one. I will look at my Cricut and find out, and I'll put that below in the link. I just found a cute one that I liked and used that for the "Oh Christmas Tree." So you can measure this to make sure that it's, you know, exact, but I just kind of eyed it and put that on, and it turned out so cute. Absolutely love it. So once we're done, we're going to glue that to the tray. So use your hot glue gun. You could use E6000. You could use, you know, a number of glues, but my go-to is the hot glue. So I would use the hot glue. So I put that in the tray, and then we're going to add one more embellishment. We will add a little bow. And I just chose a buffalo check bow for the top of the tree. You could also put a glittery star. I know I cut the star off, but I know Dollar Tree has some cute stars that you could also put at the top. But I just thought the buffalo check was super cute with the green and the wax brown color. So I ended up dovetailing the bow. So you can dovetail that. You can, however you want to cut the ends of that. And then I just use hot glue and glued that to the top of the tree, and you're all done. It's kind of a quick one, super easy, just a few items from the Dollar Tree, and of course the twine from Walmart. I think you can find twine at Dollar Tree as well. And then it stands up perfectly. So you just stand that right up and you're good to go. All right, for the next DIY, I found these cute boxes at the Dollar Tree with the Christmas trees, and I have a Dollar Tree frame, just an 8x10 frame. I took out everything, and then along with that I have some scrapbook paper that I'm going to glue to the backing of the frame. So you'll see that in a few minutes. And then I kind of went through the paper and found the one that I wanted to use for my background. And that's the fun part about it. So I found the one that I wanted. And then I just used that, traced it, used my scissors and just cut right around there so that I would know exactly the size that I needed. This also is a quick and easy DIY. So these boxes, of course, you can put things in them. They're absolutely adorable. But I absolutely loved the Farm Fresh Christmas tree sign, so I decided to cut that out. And then I'm going to attach that to the scrapbook paper. So I ended up kind of keeping it rustic. Along the edges you can take some sandpaper, and I just took that around the edges to kind of rough them up a little bit. Just thought that would be kind of rustic and cute with the sign the way it is. I don't know if you noticed, but on that box, one side of the box, it was more of a shiny green with the trees and the Christmas tree sign. And that particular one that I used was the one that was not shiny. It was just kind of a matte. There you go. You could see that. And the nice thing is you can use that other image for another craft. So you just want to glue on your scrapbook paper to your back. And then we're going to glue on the Christmas tree sign on top of that. And then we're going to put it back in our frame. But I was going to just keep this frame the silver color that it was and put a bow on the glass, which you can see there, but I decided to take the twine and wrap the twine around the frame. So I did this. I didn't want to bore you with how long it took. It took a little bit of time to do this, but I wrapped that all the way around the entire frame and the corners, and I think it turned out absolutely adorable. And then I just put everything back in, and I used the little clasps on the back, and I secured that in there, and then I put a little twine bow at the top. And it stands up perfectly fine. You can hang it on a wall or put it behind other decor or next to decor. And I thought it was absolutely perfect. I thought it turned out so cute and so rustic and farmhouse. I absolutely love it. And that's all there is to it. Oh, I did find a Dollar Tree ornament, and I just removed the greenery, and I did glue that underneath the bow to give it some added embellishment. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, our next DIY, we are going to be using the wax, white paint, some of the little Christmas trees from Dollar Tree, and another box. And that one has the little red truck, which I absolutely love. And then I ended up using one of these wrapped canvases from the Dollar Tree, along with some of these paint sticks that I purchased from Amazon. And I will put that down in the link below. I think it was 100 in a pack. And if you don't have a set of those miter shears, I highly recommend that. The miter shears make it a lot easier to be able to snap those pieces of wood. They work great on thin pieces of wood, so that way you don't have to get your saw out or anything. But you want to cut those down to the size that you need for the inside of the frame. And as you can see, I turned that over, and then I made sure that they all fit on the inside, and then I measured out for the sides, for the sides of the frame, so the actual frame around those sticks, or those paint sticks. And it was a little difficult to cut those, I'm not gonna lie. Some of those were really hard to do, but highly recommend the miter shears, also from Amazon. You could get those at any hardware store as well. All right, so once we get everything cut the way we want it, then we're going to assemble everything and make sure that we have everything where we need it. And now we're going to use the wax again. The wax is kind of a go-to for me. You can of course use stain, or you could paint them, any of that, but the wax is nice because it dries quickly and it does not smell. So I prefer the wax, and it's just the Waverly wax. That's the brand that I have. So once you get all those painted, then you want to start gluing those onto your canvas. So cute. It kind of makes a little rustic farmhouse frame for the image on the box. And we're going to do the same thing that we did on the other project. We're just going to cut that out of the box and kind of center it up, use the sandpaper. It's going to be a real similar project. But the images are different and they're so cute. So now we're going to assemble all the pieces of wood with our glue gun. And it's so nice with this canvas because they just glue right down to the canvas with no problem. So we're just going to do each of those. So I'm a major rookie when it comes to these videos, so I hope you guys can bear with me and leave some comments. I'd love to hear your feedback. It's not an easy thing to do, to put yourself out there and do something like this, but it has been an absolute blast so far, and I'm learning a lot, and hopefully I can get better at what I'm actually saying to you, and that it's going to make more sense. But I'm a little new to it, so I hope you can bear with me. But the nice thing is we can learn together, and hopefully you can take some of this as inspiration and do some fun decor at a reasonable price, and have a blast at the same time, and also make your home beautiful. Decor is so fun, and doing it on a budget, and then making things that look more high-end, or that you would get at Hobby Lobby, you may even go to Home Goods, which is my absolute favorite. And you can see a lot of these types of crafts or decor at those places, but they're 3 and 4 times what you would pay, maybe even 10 times more than what you would pay from a Dollar Tree. So it's just that satisfaction of being able to use your creativity and just do something fun. So you kind of see how that worked out, and then I ended up cutting the image out and then making sure that I kind of measured it there to make sure that it's going to fit properly. And then you want to take that sandpaper and kind of rough up the edges again. You could also outline that with some twine, or anything, if you feel that the edges, maybe you don't want it to be so rustic. You could also paint that white, like I said. That would look really cute because the sign is white, and make it look more of that farmhouse style. So now we're going to hot glue that right to those pieces of wood. And just kind of measure it out and make sure you get it in the right place. So cute. And I did find that this will not stand by itself, so you will see later on I'll use some of the little blocks or building blocks that they have in the craft section at Dollar Tree along the back to make sure that it stands. And then I took the little Dollar Tree Christmas trees. I think there's 8 in a pack for $1, and I just glued those on. They were the same color as the Christmas tree that was in the back of the truck on the image, and I just thought that would be a cute accent. And I think I also add a buffalo check bow along the corner so that my decor matches, so that that all of my decor, as I set it out, it kind of, you know, everything goes together depending upon the room that you put them in. So again, that's what's nice about doing this yourself, is you have the opportunity to use your creativity and give it your own special touch according to what your style is and what color scheme and all that. So super fun. And I think the buffalo check ribbon, I think I got that at Hobby Lobby when it was 50% off. And so it might have been probably about $3 or $4 for 10 yards or 15 yards, something like that. So pretty good deal. So I used my glue gun to kind of put that along the corner, and then along the back we're just going to put those little blocks that I talked to you about for the stand. And I think I used 4 of those blocks along the back. You'll see in a minute I'll stand it up and it's perfect. One more. And that hot glue dries so quickly. And we're ready to stand it up. So cute. So, absolutely love it. And I hope you do too. My favorite time of the year is Christmas, and I also love the fall. And decorating is just so fun when you have things like this. All right, let's move on to the next one. So this one, I just took some poster board from the Dollar Tree, which is only 50 cents for a piece, and we're going to roll this up and make some Christmas trees out of it. I'm sure you've seen this on other YouTube channels. You just use some hot glue and roll it into the particular shape that you want it. You want to make sure that the top stays as pointy as you can, and that took me a few tries. As you can see, my poster board's kind of rolled up. I had to roll it a few times to get it to the shape that I wanted. And then I just use the hot glue to secure it and cut off the excess. You could also tape this. It's going to be under material. But the nice thing about these particular trees is this one I used an entire piece of poster board, but you could get 2 trees or 3 trees out of one piece of poster board. And then you want to cut off the end. It does take a little bit to get it to stand up straight, so you just have to keep cutting until you get that even. And then once you get it where it's nice and straight and flush with the table, then you can add any color material, any style material. I ended up using a scarf from the Dollar Tree, which was a red and black buffalo check. So cute. And because it was a scarf, I ended up cutting it in strips and kind of overlaying it. And you know, some of this I would just tell you that it took me a little bit to get it exactly, you know, how I wanted it. But I would just say you might have to mess around with it, maneuver, you know, some different pieces of material and things to get the desired look that you want. But there's really no rhyme or reason to it. You can also buy larger material, and you can, you know, do it differently. So not sure what was going on with my lighting. Sorry about that. Okay. So you want to make sure and pull down the ends to make sure that it's all glued on properly and secured to the poster board. And then once you're done, you have yourself a Christmas tree. Super cute. And there you go. You can put any color you want. All right, the next one, candles. So candles from the Dollar Tree. This also is a very simple one. We have some Cricut words that say Merry Christmas, but you could put any Christmassy phrase, or you could put jolly, you You could put snowman, you know, anything you want on these. So fun. And the font that I used for this, I think, is called Skinny, and I had to download it to my Cricut. And the Skinny is a different one, and it's a little bit more clean. And you just want to put these on. I just did it in white. And then attach that to your candles. And I'm sure you've seen this on other YouTube channels. Such a fun idea. Super easy, inexpensive, and very cute to add to your decor on top of a fireplace. So cute. So once you get the letters adhered to the candle, then we're going to add at the top, I'm going to add some twine, but you could add bows, you could add a little bit of greenery with some, you know, different various things. I thought about putting a little bit of white fluffy material that I got at the Dollar Tree. I think it was a scarf, and you could put that at the bottom of them. And so I ended up not doing that, and I just did the twine, and you just want to tie that. And I think I wrapped it around like 3 times and then just tied it in a knot. Again, kind of rustic, super cute. And then once you get those done, like I said, you just put those right on your fireplace or next to your other decor, and they make a great accent piece. I think because of the twine at the top, I would not light them, but super cute. All right, for the next one, it's another little house scene using some houses from the Target Dollar Spot that were $5. And you know, these are some of the supplies. The little berry garland was from Dollar Tree. Merry Christmas from my Cricut. 2 little fall boxes that I had left over from the Dollar Tree. I also have a little bit of ribbon that I got at Hobby Lobby. And we're just going to paint the tops of these houses white to look like snow. You could also add some of the sparkly snow with a little bit of that spray glue again. But in this particular case, I just wanted to kind of keep it clean. If you get a little snow on the chimneys, totally fine, because you kind of are going for that snowy look, so I did not tape those off. And then the boxes were a little uneven, so I used some sandpaper to make sure that the edges were flush so that I could glue the boxes together. I needed the 2 boxes together to make the stand for the houses. This particular little vacuum I got from Amazon, and I'll also put that link. Highly recommend that. It's fantastic to clean up the dust, and especially when you're painting. So once you get those where you want them, you just want to glue those together with your hot glue. And glue those together, and then we're going to paint them white because of that snowy look. However, we are going to make them look like wood along the sides. So on the top it'll be white because of the snow look, but the sides of this you want to paint white. And then I'm going to show you a little trick to make the sides look like wood, faux wood, because we know that these boxes are just made out of MDF, which is wood, but it's not the kind of wood that, of course, you can stain. So I did 2 coats of white, and then you want to take these little brushes, they're kind of wiry, from the Dollar Tree, and take your wax, and we're just going to do the sides, and you're going to just kind of dry brush this on, and the streaks from the brush, or the bristles, make it look like faux wood. So cute. So one thing I will tell you is I ended up using the Merry Christmas that I printed out on my Cricut, and you'll see a little later. I would highly recommend, you might need to seal in this wax with some Mod Podge before you put your Cricut words on They didn't stick very well, and I'll show you what I ended up doing because of my mistake. So don't make the same mistake that I did. You can also, on your Cricut, you can print out a stencil with Merry Christmas and then paint on the words Merry Christmas. That might be a better option as well. It's definitely going to last longer and probably look a little cleaner. And I almost caught that on fire with my heat gun, so be careful. So, but as you can see, this is really looking like faux wood. I love this technique. It's really amazing to be able to do that with Dollar Tree products and make it look high-end, more expensive. So we'll do the last side. And I just used my heat gun to dry each side so that I could do this quickly, but you could also, just set it out and let it dry because the wax dries so quickly. All right, so now we're going to paint the houses, and this is another one that's optional. You can paint these houses any color you want. I decided to paint them red, white, and a gray color. I mixed my white and black and made the desired gray color that I was going for. And I just painted each house the different colors. And then once you're finished with this, these dried really quickly, and I only had to do one coat. This paint was perfect for this particular project, and these little houses were fantastic from the Target Dollar Spot. Highly recommend for crafting. I mean, it just took that paint and looked wonderful. It was just a really rich color. I think the red that I'm using is from Waverly, and I'm not exactly sure of the actual color that I used, but any red from Waverly will work. Just a Christmas red. But I love those three colors together. I don't have a lot of red in my decor, but definitely for Christmas I do. So once all those were dry, I took sandpaper and just went along the edges to give it a little bit more of that weathered, rustic look. And I just kept these plain. You could add on the front of them, you could add like a popsicle stick for the doors. Would be a great idea. You could use, freehand some doors and windows. You probably could print some stuff out on, or images out on your Cricut and use those, various ways to get the look that you desire. But I just wanted this to be simple and plain and rustic and Christmassy. So I cleaned up my mess, and we're going to attach those houses after we get them all sanded. We'll glue those on, and it took me a little bit. I really worked with it to make sure that I got the desired spacing and look that I was going for. So you'll see that in a minute. Oh, this is where I kind of practiced drawing some doors with the back of a paintbrush, and I just decided against it. All right, so now we're going to assemble. So I really worked with this and kind of messed around with it to get the desired look that I was going for. And I ended up, in the end, I ended up using the white one in the middle. So you'll see that here in a minute. So, and before I glue them onto the stand, I glued them to each other because I learned my lesson from the other DIY with the houses, the little block houses, or the blocks that I used for the houses and the trees. So make sure you do that. So glue them together and then glue the entire piece onto the stand. So I just did that on the table itself so that they were nice and flat and went together exactly how I wanted them. So cute. And then I just glued them onto the stand. And I thought about gluing them, you know, like right in the center of the stand, and I actually went back a little ways because I wanted to add a few little Christmas trees in the front of the houses. So now we're going to put the Merry Christmas on, and you know, you could do this before you add the houses or after. It all worked out. But like I said, the Merry Christmas did not stick to that wax the way I thought it would. And so I had to use Mod Podge over the letters to make sure that they stuck. So you'll see that in a minute. So maybe use the Mod Podge first to kind of seal the wax, and then you shouldn't have a problem adhering those letters to that. But I was so puzzled. I was like, what is going on? I was like, why are these letters not sticking? But they were not sticking at all. So I used my tools and my fingers, and you know, I got the letters to stick, and I was able to remove the transfer tape, and then I was able to use the Mod Podge and get it exactly where I wanted it, and just did the best I could, and it ended up turning out fine. So I was able to get it on and use that Mod Podge, you know, put a good layer of that Mod Podge on, and it dries clear, so it looked fantastic when we were done, or when I was done. So again, you could put any, you know, Christmas phrase on the front of this, but I just thought Merry Christmas was perfect. I really liked the red with the red house, but you could also do green, you could do white, you know, you could maybe do black, but it may not show up very well. But again, you know, as crafters, you know, we're able to use our creativity, and that's the nice part about this, is we can do, you know, make these things and provide inspiration, but you know, you can use the colors and the things that you want. So here I use some branches. These are those little branches from the Dollar Tree. They come in a pack of like 20, and I just, you know, cut them down to size and made little wreaths. And I found that they were a little bit too long, so I used some scissors to kind of trim them so that they were a little bit more clean in the size that I was after. So once I trimmed all that up, then I just hot glued them to the front of the house. I did all three the same. So cute. And then once I, you know, made all of those the size that I wanted them, and, you know, again, trimmed them all, I added some little red berries to each of the wreaths, and also from Dollar Tree. 9 yards of that for $1. I mean, what a deal. I purchased that at Hobby Lobby in years past, and it's fantastic quality. It looks identical to the stuff that you buy at Hobby Lobby, but you just can't beat it. 9 yards of that. So make sure that you go to Dollar Tree right now and, you know, get your Christmas supplies, your Christmas crafting supplies, because they run out so quickly. And I know that they get, you know, various truckloads in during the week, but I would just recommend, going often and finding what you want. I also took this little Bose kind of farmhouse. It has like some little dashes or little, it looks like, I don't know, like it's sewn. So cute. And just put that in the middle, on the middle wreath with hot glue. And then I'm going to add those little trees on the front. And then this craft will be complete. I thought about trying to put those on each of the houses, but it was a little bit too much. So I decided just to do the one. So now we're going to put these little trees in front of our houses, and I kind of laid them out where I wanted them. I thought about doing trees next to the White House, and then I thought, that's probably a little too much. I thought about adding 3 trees on each side, and then I ended up just going with the 2 on each side. Again, it's your preference, but these little trees actually were from Hobby Lobby, but they were like a pack of 8 for like $1.70 or something with the 40% off. So still a really good deal. This last DIY is a calendar image from a Dollar Tree calendar, 4 pieces of wood from the wood section at Dollar Tree with the wax. And that's all. I really appreciate you guys checking my channel out. I look forward to making many, many, many more crafts. I wish all of you a very Merry Christmas, and I really look forward to getting to know you. I thank you for your time, and I wish you the best, and I'll see you next time.